They told me I was crazy for walking away without another job lined up. But what they didn't know, they meaning my family and my friends, my colleagues, associates, acquaintances, coworkers, everybody surrounding me who thought I was nuts, was that I was prioritizing my peace. And I was in full alignment and operating from a higher level of awareness and from a place of alignment and integrity. I was not panicking about what was to come and what I was going to do and what if. I wasn't caught up in that maddening what if cycle, right? I didn't even consider that, because when you are in a place of knowing, you move, right? When you feel it in your spirit and your soul, and when your soul is starting to feel empty, when you are depleted and defeated and deflated and exhausted and drained from all of the things that come with corporate America, right? From your career, no matter how cushy it might seem, no matter how much everybody tells you, but the job security and you got a good paying job and you got great benefits and all of this stuff, none of that matters when you are in the knowing, right? And so I made this video for you, for the woman who left without a plan to make space for the miracles she knew would come, right? I made this also for the woman, that might be you, who's on the ledge right now. And you're like, please talk me off of the ledge. What do I do? Which way do I go? What's my next step? I'm over it. I'm ready to do something more, something different, something new, something bigger, something bolder, something better. And I don't know what that is, but I know this ain't it. If that's where you are right now, I also made this video for you, sis. Okay. So here's today in this video, I want to really dismantle the myth that you have to have it all figured out before you take the leap, before you leave that toxic job or hostile work environment, or a job that just in whatever way no longer serves you. You have outgrown the corporate building. Okay. You're done with corporate America like I was. And so if that is you, then stay tuned. Okay. Because I want to really have a deeper dive in this conversation, right? To talk about this conversation really is centered around intuition, alignment, and peace. Okay, to sum it up. And I want you to know, by the way, that these are very valid strategies. Okay, you will always need clarity. You will always need to operate in full alignment. You will always need um, peace, internal peace. And that is the work that I do. Is I, as a holistic business coach and RN health and wellness educator, is I help you as the high achieving woman entrepreneur, somebody who is successful in your corporate career, leave the corporate space and build aligned and profitable online brands and businesses while prioritizing your health, your healing, and your happiness, because that always has to come first. In order to expedite your external success, you have to do the internal work and heal whatever parts and pieces of you that aren't whole. Okay, so let's get into this conversation. I want to talk about what was the plan, right? What was my plan? What is your plan? Do you have one right now? Well, the plan for me at the time was survival, much like it might be for you right now, right? So if you're new here, and if you're not, you may or may not have heard my story, even though I have shared it a gazillion times on my channel. I do want to just kind of touch, depending on what I'm talking about, as in today's video, for example, I'm going to share parts and pieces of it. But in case you don't know, and if you're new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. Thanks for being here. What I want you to know about me is this. I left many jobs, okay? Over the tenure of my very long 30-year career in corporate America. Yes, I said 30 long years, girl. Okay, that wasn't a mistake. Okay, 30 years. It wasn't a blooper. Okay, 30, not 13. You got me? Okay, just so we're clear. But I was a job hopper. Why? Because I was never satisfied, right? I always saw the writing on the wall. I was never afraid to leave a job if it was toxic, if it was hostile, if somebody took a mob approach with me, if there were workplace bullies, if there was a lot of micromanagement, microaggression, If it was just anything that was not, maybe it wasn't a stimulating environment, maybe I had, whatever the case might have been, if it was too much of that and it was an overwhelming amount of whatever was going on, I bounced. Deuces, I'm out. Like it's no second thought for me. Okay. And so I was not at like just one or two or three jobs over that span of time. I was in a lot of jobs. Like on average, I only stayed at a job 1 to 2 years, if that tells you anything. So as you can imagine, how many jobs I had over that span of time, 30 long years, right? With 4 years being the very longest I was ever at a job. And that was in my 20s. Okay. In my big old age now. Okay. I just had a birthday that passed as of this recording. So I am 55 years young. Okay. So that was a long time ago. 1 to 2 years was my average. And honey, if I did 2 years, I am doing something big. It's time to celebrate. Okay. Because I did the damn thing. I'm here 2 years. Woo! It must be pretty good. Okay, because I don't stay where I'm not wanted and where I'm rejected and where my voice is not valued. And I don't stay where people can't see my vision and they give a lot of pushback and they're not receptive to my ideas. Okay, I don't stay in places where I am bullied. I don't stay in places where I am victimized. I don't stay in places where I am violated. You understand what I'm saying? That's not how I roll over here. Okay, so at the height of my career, just so you know, making a six-figure salary, I was out of there as a healthcare administrator. Doesn't matter. Okay. So none of those important sounding titles that truthfully doesn't match the worth. It may never match my paycheck, right? And if that does match your paycheck, oh, they really think they own you. So no, ma'am, I'm done. Like I will wash my hands to it in a minute and find something better. And it's always, for the most part for me, has been a better opportunity on the other side. Now, not always the case. Okay. So I just wanted you to know a little piece about me in case you didn't know that. Okay. But if you want to know more about my story, you can always go back to like when I did my resuscitation room series, and you can watch the replays to that live stream show, and you can learn a lot more about me that way. But I digress. So I left corporate America. Well, I left these many jobs. Okay. And then eventually, yes, corporate America altogether, because it was killing me. Like figuratively speaking, and literally, I felt like it was killing me. Seriously, emotionally, physically, spiritually, killing me. Okay. I was having debilitating migraines that I don't know if you've ever had a migraine, but just imagine a headache on 10, on 100. Okay. 10 times the pain that you experience with a normal headache. Okay. And for me, I couldn't tell in the beginning the difference between just a normal headache, that if I popped a pill, right, like if I took some Motrin or ibuprofen or whatever, if it was going to go away. So I would usually start that way, and then it would start to worsen, and I would know, oh no, it's starting. And I would get auras, right? Floaters for me is what it was, right? Sound. I was very sensitive to sound. So I had to learn to tolerate it though, because I still had to be productive. I still had to show up, right? I still had to show up for work. I still had to show up for my employees. I still had to show up for my leadership, my superiors, right? I still had to show up when I was running a business. And, so as a parallelpreneur, like I still had to show up for my family. I still had to show up for me. So I just learned to tolerate it, but it was debilitating. Migraine headaches. I eventually ended up, dealing with a lot of chronic stress and the residual effects from that. I ended up having fibroids and literally was hemorrhaging to death. Okay. Like it was just bad. I had musculoskeletal issues. I had chronic pain. Like I can go on, lots of fatigue. Listen, my nervous system resigned before I did. And my brain really, like my body knew that I was in this like crisis before my brain did, right? Like the two weren't caught up. My brain couldn't catch up with my body, or my body with my brain, right? So I was just like all messed up, a whole hot mess, honey. You know what I'm saying? So when you are going through those kinds of challenges, in your right mind, right? That this is not a place for you to stay. So these are some of the things that I was going through, and that's not all of them. And not to mention that I was not necessarily have the Sunday scaries as they're called, right? But I dreaded Mondays for sure. You know, I lived for the weekends, and Monday would roll around, right? And then I was already wishing it was Friday on Monday, and then Monday would come and I was hoo ha hooray, yes, yes, oh my God, thank God it's Friday. And then Friday and Saturday were like the weekend, right, when I can really do what I wanted. And then Sunday would roll around, and then I had that Sunday dread and doom. It's like, oh, the doom and gloom, right? And then the moan day blues were back, as I call them. And so crying in my car, like you name it, I did it. I was so tired of, you know, when I was a nurse at the bedside, I was tired of being burnt at the bedside. When I was a healthcare administrator or in any leadership roles for the 20 plus years, I was tired of battling in the boardrooms, right? Like I was exhausted. So peace had to be my strategy. Do you know what I mean? Peace had to be my strategy. It had to be, because I needed that desperately. I craved it like you couldn't imagine. Or maybe you can, now that I've shared, you know, more about what that looked like and felt like for me. So choosing peace for me, it wasn't an impulsive thing. It was actually very intentional. Okay. I didn't just make the jump just to make the jump, right? There was always reason behind it. I had rationale, I had a method to my madness. Okay. Even though people thought I was crazy, like, girl, you have all these degrees, you done, you know, did all this work, you done climbed and climbed and climbed the corporate ladder. You finally reached the top. Now you want to leave? Girl, you are making all this money and you have all of this great life, right? And now you want to leave? Yes. Now I want to leave. I am ready, 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 so ready, because I prioritize my peace. When you're clear on, you know, prioritizing your peace and not letting people steal your joy, you're golden there, because then you got clarity enough to make the move that you got to make. You know what I'm saying? So for me, I had to make space for clarity. I had to make space for new ideas. I need to make space for better offers, right? And my healing journey. When was I going to begin that? Because I clearly needed it. So it wasn't about me running away from something. It was about me running towards something. And that was my best self, the better version of myself, my 2.0 self, right? My more mature, evolved self, right? I was running towards that, my bigger, bolder, brighter, blessed future. I was running towards that. You follow what I'm saying? You feel me? Have you ever been there? Well, if you're getting what I'm giving and you love these gems I'm dropping, go ahead and leave a comment right now so we can get this discussion popping. I would love to have the dialogue beyond this video. Let me know if you've experienced anything like this, you know, and why you clicked on this video, what resonates with you, what's hitting home, what's pulling on those heartstrings. Let me know in the comments right now. And if you are getting value from my content, be sure to subscribe if you're not already. And girl, hit the notification bell, okay? Because you never want to miss a single episode whenever I drop new content and or go live, okay? Now, let's go ahead and get back to what we're talking about. So conversation at hand is, what was the backup plan? Did I have one? Depends how you look at it, right? For me, everyone said, have a backup plan. What's your plan B? What's your plan C? What's your backup plan? What are you going to do now? What are you going to do next? Guess what? None of that mattered, because I was the backup plan. My plan B was my plan A. I was the plan. I was the only plan that I needed as far as I was concerned. I was going to bet on me. Okay. Well, everybody else was talking about winning the lotto. Most times you say, I'm going to win the lotto, and people ain't even playing the lottery, right? But, you know, I was my own lottery ticket. I was it. I was that chick. I was that boss chick. I was that, you know, I was that it girl. Like I was going to figure it out. I'm resourceful as a person. This is who I am. It's in my DNA. I was not concerned. I really wasn't. Not to the degree where I let the what if stop me, right? What if this happens? What if this doesn't happen? What if I fail? What if I succeed? What if? No. I made sure that I was going to take my God-given gifts, my talent, my sweat equity that I put into corporate America, my years of experience, my skill set, right? My discipline, my grit, my determination, my deliberation. I was committed to my transformation. I was committed to honor my calling. I was loyal to my legacy, period, point blank. God, in my mind, called me to do this bigger work, and I was never going to reach the capacity of my purpose or live out my purpose fully, right? Because I was out of alignment being in an environment that rejected me or didn't, see me for who I was, or just, like I said, it was just no longer serving me, okay? And when I was in these environments that was toxic and hostile, girl, no, bye, Felicia, bye. Like, oh no, we don't do that over here, okay? Y'all can have that. I'm good. Really, no, seriously, I'm good. You can have it. You can keep that, okay? So I didn't need a step-by-step plan. You know what I'm saying? I didn't need guidance and support, yes, and eventually guidance. But what I mean is I didn't need a step-by-step for how to really get out. I'm going to get myself out of jail. Okay. I got my own get out of jail card. And those are the things that I just named. Okay. So what I really needed was a step away. A step away from what? A step away from a broken system called corporate America, because I was tired of being brainwashed, right, and no longer wanted to buy into a broken system. Like, I was done. I didn't want to be brainwashed no more. I was tired of being disappointed. I was tired of pursuing degrees that didn't get me but so far. They still cap you. They still max you out. You can only go so far, hit that proverbial glass ceiling, as you're climbing the corporate ladder and you get up to the top and you realize, this is it. This all it is. Really? This was the hype? Somebody should have told me that a few steps down, okay? When I was closer to the bottom. You know what I'm saying? Like, but we have to live and learn, right? And so I did. So yeah, I was tired of buying into a broken system called corporate America. Tired of being broken by a broken system that repeatedly failed me. I was tired of being a part of that maddening cycle, as you probably are too, which is why you're here, right? So there's always a time where you have your glow up, right? When you keep showing up for you and you're consistent about that and you're seriously committed to that. That was true for me. So again, once I left, clarity hit. Once I left, my energy shifted. Once I left, opportunities found me. I no longer had to really search out those opportunities. Why? Because I was now operating out of full alignment. You feel what I'm saying? And now when you're aligned, then the universe, that's how it works, because it's always watching and listening and bringing to you the energy that you're exuding outward comes back to you tenfold, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. So I ended up building something better. And what was that? My business. It was my boundaries. It was my belief. That's what was better. That's what was needed. So it wasn't about me quitting so I can get lost. It was quitting so I can be found, discovered by others, but most importantly, finding me again. My happiness, my happy place, my youthfulness, because I was allowing corporate America over time to steal my joy. And my mother has always said to me, never let anyone or anything have that much power over you, and never let anyone and anything steal your joy, never. And when that was happening to me, I felt lost in that. I knew I wasn't stuck, okay? There wasn't no cement, holding my feet down. I didn't have shackles on, but I was wearing those golden handcuffs. But I needed to leave when I was ready and on my terms, right? And when you're ready. So I want to offer you some encouragement as we get to a point of this video where, like, if you're ready to leave and you're just there staying still stuck and stagnant. And the reality is, you're settling for mediocrity when you should be operating from a place of excellence, because that's truly who you are. You need to get in touch with your core being. You need to get in full alignment, right? You need to get the clarity that you need in order to succeed, because you want holistic success, not just parts and pieces of success. Your career does not define you. A business is not going to complete you. A relationship alone is not going to fulfill you, right? Nor will your family or friends or external factors and forces. You have to be the one to decide what you're deserving of. You know what keeps you up at night, what thoughts you have, what you fantasize and dream about. You know that, right? You know that when no one's looking, you're crying in the shower. You know when the lights are off, your eyes are still open. You know that when you lay your head down at night. You know that you are sobbing in the car in between breaks, right? You know that when you leave for a lunch break or take one day off, you never want to go back. You know the truth. So you have to really do a deeper dive with yourself and ask yourself the hard questions. And that does require you to peel back those layers. So a word of encouragement for you is this: it's okay to choose yourself before your next paycheck. Okay, it's okay for you to choose yourself before your next paycheck. Okay, because I want you and need you to hear me and hear me clear when I say this. If you don't hear nothing else in this video because you've been multitasking and doing whatever else and not really paying full attention, I need you to go back and watch this video. But I want you to hear me in this moment when I say that peace is profitable and rest is the new revenue. And healing is your new strategy. Okay? And freedom is the fertile ground that you need to grow the seed that was placed within you. You need freedom, but in order to achieve it, you need a plan that you can execute on. You need clarity first. You need space out of the environment that's holding you hostage and holding you back. And you need guidance and support by a coach who has been there and done that, right? Who can help you pivot and transition out and go to new, unimaginable heights and really and truly get to your next level. And what does that look like for you? Well, you're going to be the one to design the life that you want to live and the one that you will love. I can't tell you what that is, only you can do that. But you can get the help that you need in order to succeed. Okay. So I want to invite you to share your own walk away story. Like, well, what are your walk away moments? Let me know in the comments below. But if you are ready to get to the next step, your next level, unimaginable heights, like, right, live a life that is considered your first class life, girl, especially at this big old age, I need you right now to stop everything you're doing. Go to the pinned comments or in the job I'm saying job description because we're talking about jobs, for the description box. And I want you to book a clarity call with me. And let's create an aligned and profitable online brand and business without sacrificing your soul and sanity or compromising your health, healing, and happiness. Okay? Let's make sure your soul is aligned, that you are, living out your purpose, your mission with a profitable business, getting paid, doing what you love. No, you don't have to leave your job immediately. We can just create a transition plan, put that in place, but prepare you for the day that might inevitably come where you don't leave on your terms. They actually walk you out the door. They give you your walk-in papers, okay? For whatever reason. Or just that you're ready and now you're prepared, okay? Either way, it's a good plan to have a plan in place, right? So that's my time. I'm going to tune out while you tune in. Be sure to watch this video with at least 3 friends or share it out with 3 friends and watch the next video that YouTube recommends. As always, and until next time, I am wholeheartedly in this journey with you. Bye for now.